I'm so excited for this. iOS 18, it is going to be a massive update. Apple is preparing to add sideloading to the iPhone for the first time. RCS text message support with Android is also in the works. And there will be a number of new AI features as well. So it's a lot. But before we jump into any of that, I just want to start off with what makes myself most personally excited, and that is the chance for a major redesign this year. Recently, Bloomberg's Mark Gurman has been sharing a ton of the information we know about iOS 18 and noted specifically that there are not only just major new features coming in iOS 18, but new designs as well. And that, frankly, that's not something that we've heard since 2013 with iOS 7. I didn't actually realize until I was making this video how long it had been, but we were on the iPhone 5C and the iPhone 5S the last time that Apple did an actual system-wide refresh across the board. And listen, we don't know 100% at this point whether it is going to be a full system-wide redesign, but internally I found this interesting. Apple themselves is calling iOS 18 ambitious and compelling. When is the last time Apple's even said that publicly about a new version of iOS? It's just usually fun new features that are nice, but the iPhone is the big story for hardware. Well, apparently the iPhone 16 is visually going to look pretty similar, so to compensate for that, iOS 18 could look very different. Even Mark Gurman says iOS 18 could be relatively groundbreaking, which again, these are just things we have not heard iOS described as since 2013 when we first heard about the rumors for the iOS 7 redesign. Now, before moving on with the rest of the video, just want to thank Basis for sponsoring this one, and today I want to show you how I've been charging my iPhone with maybe the most unique power bank I've ever shown on the channel. Because this 10,000 milliamp hour magnetic power bank has a built-in USB-C cable, allowing you not only to wirelessly charge your phone, but also the ability to charge even faster by unplugging the cable and putting it directly in your phone, giving you a charging speed of up to 30 watts. This power bank has a super strong magnetic connection that I couldn't shake off if I tried, and by connecting another USB-C cable, you can even charge your phone and another device at the same time. And because Basis's Black Friday frenzy has already began, you can get this for just under $37, which is a super good deal. But that's not all I want to show you. I also want to give you a look at Basis's 100-watt USB-C charging cable that's retractable. So if you want it to be super long, you can do that, and then you just pull it out and it goes back in, or you can stop it in the middle and get the exact length that you want. And again, because Basis is already doing their Black Friday frenzy, you can get this for under $18. And if you wanted to pick up any other Basis stuff, right now is an absolutely amazing time, because with the sale going on, a ton of stuff on their website is on sale, including a number of the products we've talked about on this channel before. And these are just the deals live right now for the pre-Black Friday sale, because if you scroll down on the page and subscribe for updates by entering your email address, you'll get sent an exclusive code that you can use between November 24th and November 26th for the regular Black Friday sale. So check out the links down below in the description, get your hands on some new Basis products. I have not seen prices as low since I think their last Black Friday sale, which was a year ago. So it's the best possible time to buy. A huge thank you to Basis for sponsoring this one. Now let's get back to the rest of the video. But it's not just iOS 18 visually changing. It sounds like below the surface, especially with sideloading, Apple's going to be changing a lot there too. Sideloading on the iPhone. What world are we living in where this is something that Apple is going to allow? Well, Apple doesn't actually want to allow it. It is once again the European Union flexing their muscles, saying that they think the App Store is a monopoly of sorts in the EU and that there needs to be more competition on the iPhone. And I gotta be honest, I feel conflicted about this, because as somebody that uses my iPhone a lot, I really want the ability to install things that Apple might generally not put on the App Store, but as somebody that likes Apple, I mean, the iPhone became the iPhone because of Apple's control. What's gonna happen to iOS and the iPhone when Apple isn't the one making all the calls anymore? Regardless, we have recently got some new information about sideloading, and it actually sounds like it might be launching in the EU as early as iOS 17. According to Gurman, once again, Apple is still actively working on the sideloading project, and it will launch first in the EU. It sounds like as early as the first half of 2024. Regardless, sideloading on the iPhone is going to work very different than sideloading on Android, where you can kind of just install whatever. Apple sounds like they're going to be putting some heavy guardrails and a lot of warnings about the software that you could now hypothetically install. And again, at first, it's only going to be in Europe. Gurman says that when sideloading comes to the iPhone, Apple will also be making changes to payments apps as well as the messages apps. And again, it's going to be tightly controlled. That's the quote used. It's not going to be a free-for-all, probably for the better, because I could see a lot of iPhone users just going out there and getting viruses. The good news here though, and the best example, right, Fortnite will be back on the iPhone when sideloading launches in the EU. You You will be able to download the Epic Games Store for the iPhone, separate from the App Store. Apple will not get their 30% fees, and all the proceeds will go directly to the developer. I mean, arguably, sideloading could help smaller developers because Apple doesn't take any 15 to 30% cut. That being said, this will objectively weaken the security of the iPhone because you won't be going through an App Store review process to download something. It could just be something that somebody threw out there, malicious or not. So, two sides to every coin. Personally, though, yes, I'm excited that sideloading is coming. And listen, while the sideloading thing was surprising, it wasn't shocking considering the rampage that the EU has been on. But what has absolutely blown my mind is RCS support. This is Rich Communication Services. This is the Android messaging standard that Apple for years has refused to adopt because they said iMessage is good enough. But everybody knows that texting green bubbles and Android sucks. Well, Apple, out of absolutely nowhere, confirmed to 9 to 5 Mac that this is all about to change sometime next year. Apple is adding RCS support to the iPhone. It will operate side by side next to iMessage. It does not replace it or supplant it. And even though the iPhone is super late to getting this, here's why it's actually a big deal. First of all, it means that sending photos and videos to Android friends are actually going to be high quality, and they will not send in the 144p resolution that we have become accustomed to, essentially unusable. Number two, you'll have typing indicators and read receipts from Android users as well. So if they're typing on their newest Samsung Galaxy, you can see that. It will not just be blank like it has been. Third, you can now send text over Wi-Fi. So if you do not have cell service, but you're connected to somebody's Wi-Fi, you can send texts that way, not through iMessage. Fourth up is the ability to leave group chats that are green. That is just something that you cannot do without blocking everyone in that group chat right now. So you can just leave, peace out, and then, get back in later if you need to, but you don't have to be stuck there. And number five, RCS will have some level of encryption. It doesn't sound like it will be end-to-end like iMessage and what Apple offers, but it will be more encrypted than zero, which is a big deal. This one, though, unlike sideloading, I am a billion% for it. There is no reason that Apple should not have added this before. It is just the new version of something that they've already had on the phone. They were super stubborn for a while. It is going to make talking to non-iPhone users better for everyone, not just for them. Better for us as well. But the bubbles are still going to be green. I thought this was absolutely amazing. People were speculating that Apple's going to change it to maybe something more neutral. No, Apple is still doing that high contrast green. So even if it's faster and there's typing indicators, no, you're talking to an Android user, and you should feel bad about that. I don't actually know if that's what Apple says, but that's kind of what it feels like. And, I'm here for the meme. Now, on top of everything else, Apple also has another big feature set planned for iOS 18, and these are all features centered around artificial intelligence and AI, which has become the buzzword of the past year in tech, which frankly, Apple has not done a lot with up until this point. I mean, in iOS 17, we got AI features that made the autocorrect better in the update, and I will say that is significantly upgraded from before. You can finally curse now and your iPhone remembers it without correcting it. But that was pretty much it for iOS 17, where Google I/O sounded like this.
AI first, generative AI. Third, AI, deploying AI. Finally, rigorously tested AI.
The thing is, it's not just us speculating that Apple has been a bit behind. Apple themselves, according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, says, yeah, we are a bit behind the curve. So this is a huge focus for iOS 18, and we know what the AI features are going to focus on. First, I can't believe I'm saying this, and I'm sorry to do this to you because I've gaslit you guys pretty much every year for the past decade I've been here, but Siri is going to get smarter. I'm sorry. I just have to put this out here legally because it's what other people are saying. Bloomberg's Mark Gurman and The Information, which have great solid track records, are both reporting that Siri is maybe actually going to get smarter. And hey, if there is one technology on the planet that could save Siri, maybe it is AI. And according to The Information, we have an example of how this is going to work. It says the technology, for instance, could allow someone to tell the Siri voice assistant on their phone to create a GIF using the last 5 photos they've taken and text it to a friend. Now, that's a really weird niche example, and I don't know anyone that would want to ask Siri to send a GIF to someone. Okay. Well, of course, that would just be one application. Potentially, Siri would also become smarter with context and answering questions, which historically has been Siri's weak point. Again, the thing with this rumor is I've just been burned so many times. I get excited every single year for a version of Siri that is legitimately competent, and then I leave the WWDC keynote sad, where nothing is significant announced. So we'll see what happens this year, but that's just the start of the AI stuff, luckily. Just like Apple improved autocorrect in iOS 17, we're hearing that they're going to continue using these large language models with AI to improve it again in iOS 18. We don't have a ton of other detail about what specifically Apple is going to be changing, but this is a key part of Apple where they found AI works and they're going to double down. As for the third major AI change in iOS 18, it's going to be spread throughout a lot of apps. So for example, in the Apple Music app, we're going to start seeing AI generated playlists that might know you better than a previous algorithm that Apple used to run. Or in a productivity app like the Pages word processor, AI could help you rewrite things or construct ideas in a new way that would be built into the software. In Keynote, it could help you organize a presentation or work on your slides more effectively. Basically, think of the broad AI stuff that exists through a number of services right now that would just be baked into Apple's apps. And I have not found that current stuff all too appealing or interesting, but I feel like Apple's not just going to copy and paste it. They're going to do something unique when they do add it. And one last tidbit about AI features in iOS 18 that I found really interesting, it sounds like some of these could be exclusive to the iPhone 16 coming later this year, because Apple might be processing everything on device exclusive to the iPhone 16, where everything before would be processed via iCloud. This rumor is still pretty early on and from a source that hasn't shared a lot, but Apple does historically lock down some parts of the new iOS update to new iPhones, and maybe this year it would be AI. So iOS 18, right? This update sounds like a lot. How are we going to be confident that Apple can actually pull this off and make it bug-free and usable and not glitchy? Well, apparently Apple is focusing on this as well, and they actually took an extra week this year, according to Bloomberg's Mark Gurman, to do just that and iron out bugs a bit earlier and longer than before. To be fair, this process of Apple taking time to iron out bugs isn't new, but it does sound like it's a bigger focus this year than in years past. And I just remember, like with iOS 7, that was not the most stable of updates, especially on that iPhone 4, man. RIP that iPhone 4. That was a rough time for those users. Regardless, I am so excited for this, man. I am an iOS boy. This is taking me way back. I started this channel. I was iUpdate OS. I only did iOS updates, so you could see the sheen. I get a little excited when it comes to iOS things and just the idea to relive my childhood of like another major iOS refresh. You guys gotta remember this. Nostalgia there for me is insane. iOS 7 is the first summer that I ever did YouTube in my career. Like, this is where I was in my parents' house with my hands making videos about iOS 7. Thank you, by the way, to the 200 of you that watched these videos. I don't really know how we got here, but I appreciate that we did. So thank you guys. I know it's early for iOS 18. We still have many, many months of revisions and changes that Apple could make, but man, AI, RCS, sideloading, some of those could even come earlier than iOS 18. I cannot wait for next year. It's going to be bananas. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks again to today's sponsor. Check them out. Link down below in the description. I've been Sam. I've been iUpdate OS. Let's leave it there and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye-bye.